Think of something that you're currently trying to solve with discipline in your life, and it's not working. Most of us have at least one of these going on at any given time. Maybe you're trying to break a bad habit, you're trying to lose some weight, get in better shape, be more productive. And the way you're approaching it is you're trying to be more disciplined. You're trying to solve this by trying really hard, essentially. And I'm going to make a wild guess here. You're in some kind of a cycle of up and down where sometimes you have a surge of motivation, you try really hard, you do the thing, right? You go to the gym or you work on your project or whatever it is, and maybe it lasts for a few days, maybe even longer, but then you fall off. You suddenly seem to lose all your discipline, you're completely unmotivated, you drop the ball, life gets in the way, and before you know it, it seems like any progress you made during your spurt of motivation and discipline is lost. And then you're also being hard on yourself, like you're beating yourself up about it. You're thinking, well, I should be more disciplined. If only I were better. And you're maybe comparing yourself to other people. You imagine that other people just have their shit together more than you. They're more disciplined. And you're blaming yourself for it. This was me for such a long time with so many things. And I'm glad that I discovered there is a better way. For me personally, I don't know if this counts for everyone or not, but I think it's worth sharing. For me personally, discipline doesn't tend to work really well, but there is a better alternative. I found that very often, instead of trying to be more disciplined, I can simply pay more attention. To try this out for yourself, take one aspect of your life, one thing where you're trying to use discipline to solve something or achieve something and it's not working, and try bringing more attention to your experience of that thing instead. Here's kind of a silly example from my own life. I've always struggled with compulsive eating. Eating has always been a coping mechanism for me. And one of my worst ones was cereal, like breakfast cereals. I can just overeat on that so easily. And it's always too much. It's always a problem. For the longest time, I tried to solve this with discipline. I just tried really hard to stay away from overeating on cereal. And it never worked. I would always relapse. But here's what happened once I started paying attention to it. I started paying attention to what is my actual experience of eating cereal, of binge eating cereal. How much do I actually enjoy this? And I noticed that while I do enjoy it somewhat, I never enjoy it as much as I expected to. And I also noticed that very shortly after I clear off the third bowl or however many I'm having, I start feeling really bad. I get stomach cramps. I start feeling lethargic. It just feels bad in my whole system. And once I really brought my attention to the whole experience, what do I feel like when I have the craving? What do I feel like when I am doing the binge eating? How much am I actually enjoying that? And what do I feel like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours afterwards? The whole thing became a lot less appealing and a lot less interesting to me. Basically, I discovered that I don't enjoy binge eating cereal as much as I thought I did. And as I'm recording this, I haven't had cereal in many years. I don't even know how long it's been. And it hasn't required any discipline whatsoever. I've had the same experience with exercise, where the more I pay attention to what does it actually feel like, even if there's some resistance to doing the exercise, what does it actually feel like when I'm doing it? And how do I feel half an hour, 2 hours later? And that makes it so much more appealing. And perhaps most importantly, with work. I often feel resistance to doing work, especially when I'm working on something that's really important to me. For example, if I'm working on content, there's always this problem of, well, I always wish I could somehow make better content. There's always a certain dissatisfaction with my own work, which I think is completely normal. I think pretty much everyone who does creative work experiences some form of this. And so it creates resistance. Sometimes it can be really difficult. I have an idea in my head, I want to turn it into a video or an article, and it can be so difficult. And there's resistance. Part of me doesn't want to do this. But when I really pay close attention to what is it like to work through that resistance, what does it feel like when I do it? What does it feel like once I get into it, like 5 minutes into it, right? 5 minutes after overcoming the resistance. And what do I feel like at the end of the day if I have done something versus if I haven't done something? If I have done the difficult thing I'm trying to avoid versus if I've just been sitting and playing video games or something. It turns out doing the hard thing, overcoming the resistance and doing the work is so much more satisfying. It feels so much better than all the things I do to try and avoid it. And all of that makes it so much easier to do the thing without ever having to force myself to do the thing. So try this out on something where you've been trying to use discipline and it hasn't been working for you. And here's an extra tip. For me, the easiest amplifier of attention, the easiest amplifier of awareness is writing. Because I think attention and awareness are skills that you can practice, and you can, for example, practice them through meditation. But I've always struggled with that a bit. What's much easier for me is to just write. So write 5 minutes before the thing that you're either trying to do more of or avoid doing. Write about your experience of doing the thing, and then write about what does it feel like an hour after and maybe the next day. And it just brings your attention back to the thing several times. It's the easiest way to get master meditation level attention and awareness on something without having to become a master meditator first. So try this challenge out on one thing. See if you can replace all the discipline that's not working with some attention that makes it way easier. And then try it on the next thing and see how many areas of frustrating failed attempts at discipline you can knock out in your life and get the results anyway. If this sparks some inspiration, now's a good time to commit. Tell me what you're going to try this on by leaving a comment below. Also, on the note of using writing as a way to direct your awareness and attention and change your life quite dramatically, check out my video on themed journaling, which I'll link to below.